And Representative Melissa Bean, Democrat from Illinois, says the bill is vitally necessary to prevent a collapse of the credit market. She joins us now from Capitol Hill. And first and foremost, what turned you in support of this bill? Because frankly, it still, to me, is a little shocking that you got House Republicans still fighting it and a lot of the Democrats saying that they're going to go for it.
Hello, Cheryl and David. I think the reality is that there's been concerns on both sides of the aisle, particularly from where we started over a week ago with the administration's original plan, which was far from what we're looking at right now. And there's a lot of catching up to do with the American public and some members of Congress to see if those concerns have been alleviated. I've been a little more closely involved being on the Financial Services Committee, and I've seen a strong bipartisan effort at the leadership level to address those concerns because when we started, we weren't really protecting tax dollars. We weren't providing an equity share to Americans as we now are. And that's going to make sure that those financial institutions that we're helping don't get to keep the profits and the taxpayers don't get to share in those profits.
Well, Congresswoman, you're a moderate Democrat. You're known as fiscally conservative. And I'm just wondering if your constituents that are happy about your background would say, we don't want the government to be a shareholder. We want individuals to be a shareholder, and it's a dangerous trend to go down when you have the government taking over shares of company.
Well, I think people do have concerns about that. Some people think that that there's a $700 billion cost, and one of the things they need to know is we're buying assets that we'll be bringing back into the market at a profit, ideally later on most of those investments. We also have pay-for protection, and with warrants, those companies we help will give back to the taxpayers. But it's a valid question and a concern, but at the same time, we're also hearing from constituents who want to know when they look at their 401k statement or their pension statements that their balance is going to be secure as they move forward. And we have small businesses who want to know that they're going to be able to keep operating if they need access to capital. So it's a real balanced challenge that we're addressing, and it's why it's taking members on both sides of the aisle some time to get comfortable.
You know, Congresswoman, we heard from Barney Frank earlier and Senator Dodd both saying that they want to hold hearings, that this never happens again in this country. What can hearings accomplish? What do you want to see happen? What do you want to see change once we get through this week in our history?
Well, one of the things we have to do, and one of the things that I'm part of the working group as part of the New Dems that we've been working on, is regulatory modernization. Because there's no question that with the financial instruments, as they've become more complex and innovative, that our regulatory structure hasn't kept pace. And it's that lack of oversight that allowed the amount of leverage and systemic risk to reach a point that created this precipice that we're at right now. And so reg reform is going to be one of our top priorities, some of which a number of us have sent letters to the various regulatory agencies to make sure they can do even before we get to a broader regulatory reform package down the road.
Well, Congressman, one of the problems is you have conflicting regulations sometimes. You do have a lot of regulations after the Enron collapse in the form of Sarbanes-Oxley. Then you have the mark-to-market rules. And this draft does address mark-to-market, which, again, wasn't really designed to be in a situation when a market was spiraling downward. Some people say if you get rid of mark-to-market, that'll do a lot to unclog the system. Are you ready to do that?
I don't believe that's in the final bill. My understanding is that what we're going to do is that's outside of the bill because it is regulatory, and what it'll be is it's not an issue so much with the auditors and the accounting rules of mark-to-market where they basically have to price things to what the market's offering, but it's the implications of what follows those mark-to-market rules with the regulatory agencies that might, for instance, require capital requirements that has really constrained liquidity even further.
Congresswoman Melissa Bean from Illinois, thanks for being with us. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.